Namaste yogis, thank you so much for joining here. So one of my favorite ways to stretch out the hips is the pigeon prep, but I do understand that that's sometimes very difficult for people to get into. So especially if you have tender knees or you've had injury in the knees in the past, it's always better to make sure that you're not hurting the knees even more. To modify the pigeon prep and make it accessible for everyone to use, this is a really good way. So what you want to do is come to, first of all, if you have a pillow or a blanket, it's always really good to use it as a way to prop up your hips. And I like to put the blanket on the side, take my thigh right on top of the blanket, and then bend both knees. So this is referred to as you may have heard this as 90-90. 90 degrees in the front knee, 90 degrees in the back knee, 90 degrees in both ankles. And then you can stay here and just practice opening into that hip. And what you want to do is really breathe into your hip, and as you exhale, you soften the hip down and down towards the floor. If and when you feel like the hip is opening a little bit more, you can always lean forward, putting your hands flat on the floor. Maybe you like to experiment and bring your elbows down onto the floor, or you can even stack your hands and rest your forehead on top of the hands. So a really, really good way to modify. And let's go ahead and do the other side. So again, turn around. If you don't have a blanket, you can always put a pillow under that thigh, but that allows you to lift that hip up a little bit more, so it even becomes that much more accessible. Again, the most important thing here is to remember that you're not feeling any pain in the knees whatsoever. So bending the front knee, bending the back knee, the more you can move that back leg back a little bit, you also get a nice internal rotation of that leg as well, the hip, so that allows you to open it up a little bit more. You can always start here with the hands just framing that top leg, or maybe you want to bring the hands to the front and just fold forward, or maybe you want to bring your elbows down onto the floor and fold. And then you want to stay in this pose for a while. So start maybe with 30 seconds, maybe moving up to 60 seconds. And the more you stay in this pose, the more you feel like an opening. Maybe you can stack your hands, bring your forehead down to the floor, and practice that. So I encourage you to practice this pose. It's a really, really nice way of allowing the hips to open up. If you're an athlete and you run and cycle, these IT bands get really tight, the piriformis gets tight. So that's a really good way of helping the hips stay healthy and mobile and functional throughout your life. Thank you for joining again, and I hope to see you next time. Namaste.